When you tell a woman she's beautiful, sure, she'll smile and appreciate it, but deep down, she's already heard that 1,000 times before. It's almost automatic for most guys, like breathing. And because it's so common, it doesn't really stand out. What really makes a difference, what actually separates you from every other guy she's ever dealt with, is when you compliment her mind, when you notice the way she thinks, the way she processes the world, the way she connects dots others don't see. That's when she feels truly recognized. Because beauty fades and she knows it. But her mind, her creativity, her insight, that's where she feels her lasting value lies. Think about it. When was the last time you told a woman, I love the way you think? Or I admire how you solve that problem? Or even something simple like, I like how you see things differently than most people. Those are compliments that land on a completely different level. They tell her you're not just interested in her body, you're tuned into her essence, to the deeper part of her that rarely gets acknowledged. And the truth is, when a woman feels seen on that level, she automatically feels safer, more connected, and more drawn to you. Most men operate on autopilot. They're quick to throw out surface level compliments because they think that's what women want. But women aren't starving for attention about their looks. They get that constantly. What they're starving for is to be validated for the qualities they work hard to develop and the strengths that most men overlook. The irony is, when you compliment her mind, you're not only making her feel special, you're also differentiating yourself. You're showing you actually pay attention, and that's rare. Now, here's the kicker. When you sincerely compliment a woman's mind, it automatically creates more attraction. Why? Because you're touching her in a way that most guys never do. You're giving her something she craves but rarely gets. Women want to be wanted, yes, but they also want to be respected. They want to know that the way they think, the way they create, the way they solve problems, it matters. It adds value not only to their life, but to the lives of those around them. And when you're the guy who actually verbalizes that, who actually points it out, she can't help but associate you with the feeling of being valued on a soul deep level. But here's where most guys screw it up. They try to fake it. They throw out generic, you're so smart lines that don't mean anything. A woman knows when you're just saying words to get something. The key here is to actually pay attention. Listen to her. Observe how she navigates life. Notice the way she thinks differently, the way she comes up with solutions, the way she holds her ground in tough situations. Then let her know in your own words that you see it and appreciate it. That's when the compliment hits with real power. So if you want to give a compliment that she'll remember, don't just focus on her body or her looks, compliment her mind. Appreciate the way she thinks, the ideas she brings, the perspective she offers. When you do, you're not only speaking her ego, you're speaking directly to her heart. And that's the kind of compliment she secretly craves, the kind that most men never even think to give. That's how you make her feel truly seen. When a woman walks in a room, she's not just bringing her looks, her outfit, or her makeup, she's bringing her energy. And the truth is, that energy is what leaves the deepest impression. Most guys never even notice it, let alone compliment it. They get stuck on the obvious, you look great tonight, or that dress is beautiful on you. But what women secretly crave, what actually penetrates deeper, is when you acknowledge the way they make people feel. When you tell a woman, I love how your presence lights up the room, or being around you feels calming, you make things easier just by being here. You're appreciating something far more valuable than surface beauty. You're admiring her essence. Because here's the thing, looks are fleeting, but energy is eternal. A woman can change her hairstyle, her weight, her fashion sense, but her energy, that vibe she gives off, is unique to her and only her. It's the aura she brings, whether it's playful, soothing, passionate, nurturing, or magnetic. And when you're the man who notices it, you're telling her you see beyond what everybody else sees. You're connecting to the part of her that feels like her true self. That's the kind of compliment that makes her melt. Most men don't think this way. They'll compliment her appearance because it's easy. But women hear those lines all the time, from strangers on the street to guys in her DMs. She doesn't need more surface level validation. What she longs for is deeper recognition. When you appreciate her presence, you're affirming that she matters not just because of how she looks, but because of how she makes you feel when you're with her. And that, to a woman, is powerful. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who instantly made you feel relaxed? Or maybe someone who brought energy and excitement into the moment? That's presence. And when a woman brings that into your life, when she makes your world feel lighter, brighter, or more alive, and you actually tell her that, it hits her in a place where most men never reach. She feels seen not just for what she does, but for who she is. And let me be clear, this isn't about fake flattery. Women have radar for insincerity. They know when you're saying something just to win points. What makes this kind of compliment work is your honesty. You've got to slow down, pay attention, and genuinely notice her energy. Maybe she has this playful spark that makes ordinary moments fun. Maybe she has this grounded, calming vibe that steadies you when you're stressed. Maybe her laughter is so contagious it shifts the whole mood of a room. Those are the things that make her unique, and when you call it out, she'll never forget it. When you admire her energy and presence, you're also sending another message. You're not just focused on what she gives you physically. You're tuned into something deeper. You're telling her that her spirit, her vibe, her soul is valuable. And when a woman feels that, when she feels her inner world being cherished, she naturally opens up, she naturally leans into you because she knows she's not just being desired, she's being understood. That's why the man who notices her energy always stands apart. He's the one she thinks about later, the one she tells her friends about, because he made her feel seen in a way most men overlook. And that's the kind of compliment she secretly craves, the one that celebrates not just how she looks, but the way she makes life feel. That's how you connect to her essence, not just her appearance. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is taking a woman's effort for granted. Most guys don't even realize how much a woman invests emotionally, mentally, physically, just to make things flow smoother. Whether it's the little touches she adds to make a place feel like home, the way she supports you when you're stressed, or the thought she puts into planning something meaningful, women constantly give in ways that often go unnoticed. And what they secretly crave more than you can imagine is to feel like that effort matters, like someone actually sees the contribution they're making. When you stop and genuinely acknowledge what she does, you're telling her she's valued. Something as simple as, I really appreciate how you thought of that detail. It made a big difference. Or, I notice how hard you've been working, and I admire it, can completely shift the way she feels around you. It's not about grand speeches, it's about letting her know you're paying attention. Women want to feel that they're not invisible in the relationship, that the energy they put in doesn't just vanish into the background. Here's the reality: most women won't outright ask for this. They won't sit you down and say, please notice what I'm doing for you. Instead, they'll keep giving, keep showing up, and over time, if it goes unacknowledged, resentment builds. That's when you start hearing lines like, I feel unappreciated, or I don't think you see me. And for a lot of men, it comes as a shock because they didn't realize that what she needed most wasn't some huge romantic gesture. It was simple recognition. Think about it from your own perspective. When you bust your ass at work or in your career and nobody notices, it feels discouraging, right? But the moment someone genuinely acknowledges the effort, you feel respected and motivated. It's the same for her. Except in her case, her effort might be invisible. Emotional labor, organizing, remembering birthdays, planning things, keeping harmony, or just showing up in ways that you've started to expect without realizing it. The man who actually points it out, who says, I love how you always make things feel special, or I see how much you do and I don't take it for granted, is the man who wins her heart on a deeper level, because he's not just enjoying what she gives, he's recognizing the human being behind it. He's telling her she matters not just for who she is, but for what she chooses to give. And here's the thing, you don't need to say it every single day. It's not about overdoing it. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing moments where you genuinely see her effort and letting her know you value it. When a woman feels that kind of acknowledgement, her love, her loyalty, her desire to keep giving, it multiplies. She feels like her energy isn't wasted. She feels like she's part of something meaningful with a man who notices and respects her. At the end of the day, women don't want perfection. They don't expect you to notice every single detail. But what they secretly crave and rarely get is the reassurance that their contributions don't go unnoticed. When you give her that, you're not just giving a compliment. You're giving her security, appreciation, and the motivation to keep building something beautiful with you. That's how you make her feel valued instead of taken for granted. The truth is, the compliments that stick with a woman the longest are the ones that highlight what makes her different from everyone else. Any guy can tell her she's pretty. Any guy can say she looks good tonight. But those words fade into the background because they're generic. What she secretly craves is to feel like you see the details no one else notices, the little quirks, the habits, the passions, the fire in her that makes her uniquely her. When you call those things out, you're not just complimenting her, you're showing her that you're paying attention, that she's not just another face in the crowd to you. Think about how rare it is for someone to say, I love the way you get so excited when you talk about things you care about, or I think it's amazing how determined you are when you set your mind to something. Those aren't lines you pull out of a script. Those are observations born from actually knowing her. And when she hears that, she lights up because she feels seen in a way most men never bother to see her. That's the difference between making her smile politely and making her feel something deep in her chest that lingers long after the moment has passed. Women live in a world where they're constantly compared to other women on social media, compared to some impossible standard of beauty, compared to each other in subtle ways they feel every single day. So when you celebrate her uniqueness, when you single out the things that no one else could replicate, you give her a sense of freedom. You're telling her she doesn't have to compete, she doesn't have to measure up, because to you, she's already one of a kind. That kind of compliment creates a bond that's incredibly powerful. But here's what you have to understand. You can't fake this. She knows if you're just trying to flatter her. What makes this work is genuine curiosity and observation. It's about actually listening to her stories, noticing how her eyes light up when she laughs, recognizing that weird little jokes she makes that no one else gets, or how she always has the courage to speak her truth even when it's uncomfortable. Those are the things that make her who she is. And when you highlight them, she feels valued not for fitting into some mold, but for breaking it. This is where most guys miss the mark. They try too hard to be smooth, and in the process, they end up sounding like every other guy who's trying to get her attention. But the man who notices the detail, the way she bites her lip when she's thinking, the way she gets lost in a book, the way she cares so deeply about people she loves, that man cuts through the noise. He gives her something that no amount of surface level flattery can touch. He makes her feel like she matters, but who she is, not just how she looks. When you give her that kind of compliment, it does more than make her feel good in the moment. It builds trust. It builds intimacy. It tells her you're paying attention not just to her body, but to her soul. And that's the place women sacredly long to be seen. That's how you make her feel cherished for her uniqueness, not compared to anyone else.